You're listening to
and such a short amount of time to do it in. We were really
a Mamamia podcast.
Just a heads up, this is a grown-up conversation, so if you've got little ears around, keep that in mind. From Mamamia, I'm Mia Freedman, and you're listening to No Filter, an interview podcast with people who tell their stories very candidly and aren't afraid to be vulnerable. Speaking of candid and also vulnerable, welcome to part 2 of my conversation with the man who speaks into a gold microphone every day, Kyle Sandilands. In part 1 of our chat, we covered his traumatic childhood and how he became homeless as a teenager, and also his relationship with women. To hear that episode, just scroll back in your feed. And in this episode, we go unexpectedly even deeper. From feminism.
If you do a job and you've got a certain worth, then you should get paid no matter. It was a surprise to me that gender was even into it.
To body image.
Humiliated.
To wanting kids. Here's part 2 of my chat with Kyle. Reconciling with your dad before he died.
We did that a few attempts at that, and really I just thought, I'm not going to say what I think. I could see he looked so sad and remorseful, and he'd been remarried, and he never drank or was violent or did anything that I remember as a child with my mother. It was like it was 2 different human beings. We had such a shocking, violent alcohol, screaming, bashings going on when I was really young. And then when my mum and I ran away in the middle of the night, and my brother was kidnapped for a year, but that's another whole story.
By who?
By my dad. He kidnapped him, stashed him at Rello's. So mum and I were changing flats, and I went to 13 primary schools all in a couple of years and all on the run because, she was terrified. And he wanted her back, and it was the 70s, and it was just going to happen like he wanted it. For a long time I wanted to be a policeman because the police would show up so often, and I saw them as the heroes,
protectors.
So I wanted so bad. My whole life I wanted to be a policeman until I got done for unlawful use of a motor vehicle and nearly got done for impersonating a federal police officer because I had a full federal police ID, photo ID and badge and everything.
What did you use that for?
Getting into nightclubs when I was younger and free McDonald's.
Do police get free McDonald's?
Yeah, they do.
Did not know that.
You have to be on duty.
But
I'd flash the badge and get free McDonald's in a stolen car, mind you.
Oh, God.
Yeah. See what happens when you get homeless? You go from a nice kid into a bad kid.
Your law enforcement career never panned out.
Nah, it never took off. I was spewing. I wanted to be badly a cop.
So I can't remember how we got onto that subject. How do you stop feeling scared of your dad after you've seen all that stuff?
Well, I think once we had a fight, our first teenage son and father hallway, every son does it with a father. You're like, yeah, you want to go? And they're like, yeah. And you get on. So the first time he knocked me straight out. Not unconscious, but put me on my ass. And the second time I put him on his ass. And I was like, you do it again? I thought I was great. We only fought twice in our whole life. And it was those 2. The first time that he put me down, the second time I put him down. And then I think I just wanted so much, and he looked so sad and remorseful, and he'd cry and he'd carry on. And, you don't understand the full story. And I'd say nothing you could say would ever make anything okay. Nothing you could say. I don't care what story you've got. And then after that Andrew Denton interview I was talking about earlier with my mum, and she said, I think I had postnatal depression after you were born, but we didn't know what it was then. And I was like, because your mum didn't hug us, so we weren't a kissy, cuddly family. While she made sure we were out of harm's way, she wasn't one of those canoodling,
she wasn't very affectionate physically.
Not at all, because
did she tell you that she loved you and stuff?
No, I know that she did, but she never said it. She was more in a protective mode for herself, and there's no part of me that thinks that she should have behaved any other way than the way she
was trying to
had
survive,
to.
right?
Exactly, yeah, there was no other way. And then when she got onto the next husband, who was nice to her, but he was a bit more violent to me and my brother. But I didn't care. I would rather be whipped every day by the stepfather so long as she was all right. So I still really remember that as a kid, not even caring that I was getting whipped for nothing, for next to nothing too. I wasn't even a bad kid. If we'd come home 2 minutes late, if we were told, be home at 5 and we were 2 past, whipped around the legs with a belt from the stepfather. Just one of those types. He was 30 years older than my mother as well. Maybe that's got something to do with My age difference, don't know. This is why I don't want to go and pay for some doctor to tell me.
I understand. We'll just cover it off here, I think.
Yeah, that's
just
it.
a few more minutes.
You
and you'll be
give send an
sorted.
invoice for your.
Totally.
You're a doctor, surely by now.
Of course. Your partner now,
Yeah.
you used to work together?
No, we knew each other 5 years before we worked with each other. Then a job came up in my office. They keep calling her my old PA or something. She was never
Your
a PA.
comms manager.
Yeah, that's what she did. So she just organises everything from the PR teams, the radio station. I could do TV on and off. She'd organise that, and my agent lived overseas. So there was, and I'm really bad at email, and if it doesn't open, I don't know what's wrong with it.
So she was like a right hand in a way.
Yeah, she was great.
Yeah.
And she came in and then, she saw that like, oh, this business, you've been running this business really badly and, there's this and there's that. And it just sort of helped me sort of sort it out. But I'd known her for a few years in the same circle of friends, nothing ever romantic. And she worked with me for quite a few years. And then once Imogen and I split up, then there was a bit of time I was by myself overseas for a while. But Tegan was great. She was someone that had known me well enough and I felt safe talking about anything personal because she was already in my sort of,
you trusted her.
Yeah, in my circle of safety, so to speak. Yeah, so she was good and she happened to be single. At the same time, I happened to be single and I think we just admitted to each other, this is a long time after even Imogen and I finished, there are feelings here, but I didn't even bring it up first because I'm really her employer. So I don't want to go, hey, I like you. And then she goes, what? You're fucking getting sued. I didn't know. So she told me, why didn't we ever date? And I was like, we were never. I was either with someone or you with someone, blah, blah, blah. And then it sort of just developed slowly from there. It was nice. It was a nice thing. Came from a real friendship place rather than oh, Jesus, she's hot. Oh, I might buy her a drink sort of place. Different situation, different result, I think, too. It's just different.
Do you move fast in relationships, like moving in together quickly, talking about the future?
I talk about the future, yeah. I think it's good to let them know where your head's at. Where
is your head at?
Well, there was a discussion about you've been married before, so you probably would never want to get married again. It's always said as like an agreeing negative. You just probably wouldn't want to get married again. I'm like, oh no, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I know what they're doing. I question people for a living. It's like,
you
I
probably
can hear
wouldn't
it.
want to have kids.
I've never desired kids, but I wouldn't not want to have kids. But, I'm
You're
getting
neutral.
old. Yeah, I'm neutral.
Yeah.
I've been told before by girlfriends over the years, I'm pregnant. Hadn't gone anywhere, unfortunately. But every time I was like, oh, that's great. I was never that guy. What the fuck are you talking about? I told you no kids. I've always been, it's probably happened maybe 3 or 4 times. And each time.
You've been sad when it didn't work out?
Well, it was either the girl I was with at the time decided it's not the right time for us, or it didn't carry on to full term. I've had both. Both is sad. But I'm a big believer coming from a broken childhood, you both got to really dedicate your life. You've got to not be selfish. You've got to not let that kid come second. That's just not an option. I was the kid that came second and lived in a drain, lived behind a shopping centre, lived behind a petrol station. So that's me with chicks. Like a protective, young, terrified kid watching mum deal horrific situations to the guy that knows he wants to be in a relationship but it takes it very badly every time it doesn't work out. Every relationship I've been in, I really think, oh, this is the one. Right up until the end. Every time.
Do you think you have a physical type?
No, but I know that anyone that likes me is known as a chubby chaser. But I don't have a physical type. I don't think I do. I've dated all different types, nationalities. Anyone that likes me.
How do you feel about your own body?
Humiliated.
Really?
I'm on light and easy. I'm not even getting paid for it. I'm buying it the guy comes every week with his little polystyrene esky and I'm sitting there eating the chicken and nothing's really happening. But I feel better. I've only been doing it 6 months and I'm still guzzling Coca-Cola and stuff, so I'm not giving it 100% crack.
Does your health make you scared?
No, not at all.
Your blood pressure, your migraines?
It was only recently that a professor took on my case. That's a worry, right? When a professor takes on, I'll take on the case.
But what is your case? Why?
What's wrong with this guy? So anyway, so I've met this guy. He changed all my doctors, everything, the GP, any specialist that I've had, even a dermatologist. He wanted me to go to all these people that he wanted me to go to, right? The best in the field. And he said to me, after all these tests, and I did everything, blood work and CT, everything. And he said, well, this is going to surprise you as much as it surprised me, but there's nothing wrong with you except you're a lazy bastard with high blood pressure. And I was on the wrong medication. So they changed medication. So finally the blood pressure is back under control because I was in this weird thing and I had sleep apnea, so I stopped breathing when I sleep and the blood pressure and just a mess. So I was just a big cycle of not sleeping properly, blood pressure too high, eating poorly. So, the last 6 months I've changed all that. So I'm eating better, drinking lots of water. Still a fat, sweaty bastard sitting here now. It's very hot in here.
It is very
put the
hot
air conditioner on.
You can use some more tissues if you want.
Where's the fucking air conditioner?
I don't know why it's so hot.
I'm talking to a man there too, not a woman.
I know. It's so true.
It's very hot.
I know.
But you're not sweating. Why aren't you sweating? But you put the heat on in here purposely to video it, sweating.
No. Try and turn the light off.
No, it's all right. Leave me on there, sweat. Zoom right in too.
I want to ask about Jackie.
Yeah, go.
When you first started working together, she wasn't earning as much as you.
Well, I didn't realise that at first. So when I first came to Sydney, it must have been 1999 or something, because it was just before the Olympics. And I trialled. It was supposed to be a 2-week trial, but they trialled me for 10 weeks. Then they gave me $250,000 or something was the first thing they offered me. I only died. I was on like $45,000 in Brisbane at Triple M. And I thought, $258,000, I nearly vomited. I couldn't believe it. And then I told Jackie, I was like, oh my God, they offered me $258,000. She went, oh yeah, that's what they were paying Phil. So, and I said, wow, so what you and Phil between you were getting like $500,000.
Phil was her ex-co-host and her ex-husband.
Yeah, who I was taking his spot.
Yeah.
And she said, no, I get 80 or something like that. I was sort of paralysed. I was like, what do you mean you get 80? You're Jackie O. I just assumed they're getting paid the same. I didn't know there was diversity or difference.
Yeah.
I knew nothing about that. And she said, oh, no. She said, but, in all honesty, like Phil does all the interviews and I go outside and then when he points at me, I laugh. I was shocked. I didn't know that's how it worked because I'd not realised that, when you think about it, when Phil was interviewing Hanson or someone, Mbop, Jackie was never there in the interview. And I said, I can't do that. You have to be in the interview because I didn't know anything. I told my general manager, Kathy O'Connor, who's a great GM today then. Then she went to Nova and I think now she's the CEO of some big billboard company. But I told her, I said, hey, Jackie's only getting 80,000 and I'm getting this. She goes, oh, well, yeah. And I said, well, it has to be 50-50. I expect her to be in there all the time like I will be. And you're just going to have to take from mine and just make up the difference with hers. Pay her the difference out of mine and make it even. And I was terrified of Kathy O'Connor, not because she was horrible, because she was like just a very impressive, strong woman that you didn't want to get on the wrong side of. But she was lovely. And she looked at me and I think I might have left and she called me back later and said, I'm not going to take your money off you to give to Jackie, but if you're going to do the show like that, then I agree you both should be paid the same, and said something nice along the lines of, hey, not many people would do that. Give up your own money. But I'd done it before at the radio station before that as well in Brisbane, but to a male. But I thought he was a paid assistant and I would ride him hard and scream at him, and if he did anything wrong, and he was only like a school kid. I wasn't much older. I said to him one day, you're not worth the money you're paid. And he puts his little finger on the microphone and goes, I'm just a volunteer. I couldn't believe it. He was a volunteer and I'd been riding this kid like he was a high-paid executive or something. So I did the same to the general manager at Triple M in Brisbane. I said, you got to pay this kid. No, there's no money to pay him. And I said, well, you pay him out of my pay. And once again, the same thing happened. They said, well, no one's ever said that before. Okay, we'll find some money to pay this kid, casual money. So to me, I just thought you should get paid if you do a job. Male, female, doesn't matter what you are. If you do a job and you've got a certain worth, then you should get paid no matter. It was a surprise to me that gender was even into it, even a question.
Have you guys always negotiated together, you and Jackie?
We did for a long time after that. I think Jackie thought, fuck, he's all right at negotiating, this guy. And then it was only the last few years when it started to get, like, she was married, she had a child, she had a different manager than I did. So we basically know what's going on with each other, but I might have a few exemptions in my radio contract says that I can broadcast from anywhere on earth so long as I give them 10 days notice and they have to pay for it. So if I wanted to go to Afghanistan for 2 weeks, I'd tell them 10 days in advance and they'd have to figure out how to get me out of Afghanistan. Jackie doesn't have that, but she doesn't need that.
But you paid the same.
Yeah.
And is that something you insisted on and that she insisted on?
No, I think just from the beginning, it was just expected. Like, I wouldn't expect to earn any more than her. I wouldn't expect she would want to earn any more. And she does more work than I do.
What do you see your different roles as on the show?
Every afternoon they're running the next day's show, the running sheet past Jackie. She might change the balance of something depending on how she's feeling. I don't like to know what's going on until I'm actually about to do it on the radio.
I hear you're always there early though.
I'm there at 5:30 in the morning, half an hour early. Jackie gets there just on time. But I'm not there to prep. I just like to be there early and have a cigarette, flick through the newspaper quickly, but I'm not really reading. I'm really looking for photos of myself. And if I'm not there, then I throw it in the bin. That's not even a joke. That's the total truth.
Who reads the newspaper
I flick through,
anymore?
flick. I'm not in it, in the bin. That's true. That's what happens. And I'm not paying for it. It's just provided for me. I don't know where it comes from.
The newspaper.
Where's the newspaper come from, Bruno? Oh, I can't hear him.
Bruno's your manager. He's in the control booth.
Oh, there he is. What? Oh, God, do you think you'd know how to work a mic by now?
You're listening to No Filter with Kyle Sandilands. Who in your life tells you no? I have a sense that you're surrounded by people who suck up to you.
No way. I've been in that situation, and that cost me big time financially.
In what way?
I don't know whether people are too scared to tell me the truth or whether I was tricked, manipulated, stolen from. Who knows? Don't know. Don't care. I just realised I needed to just change the group of people around me. And no one really tells me no, but for what?
Who calls you on your shit?
No one. What shit?
Well, who says, Kyle, that was uncool what you did or what you said or the way you spoke to that person?
No one.
But you say that as if it's a really cool thing.
No.
But then how do you not turn into a narcissistic monster?
I don't know. I haven't thought about it. I check myself. Like, if I think I've gone overboard, I'll be the one to think, oh, that was a bit harsh, like on that person or whatever. But it doesn't really happen that much. Even people that listen to the show, even the people I'm abusing, they're usually laughing back. Because it doesn't really come from a really angry place.
Does Jackie ever say to you, too far?
That's
actually not fair to her because she's not your mother.
That has happened, no, but we do call each other out.
On the air you do.
On the air, but I can't even think of one example.
I mean, listening to the show, she often does say, Carl, you shouldn't say that, or that's not very nice, or whatever.
Yeah, that's
she does call you out.
It happens there and then.
Yeah, in the moment.
And I never call her out because who am I to say what she can and can't think or say?
That's very feminist of you. Do you think you're a feminist?
I think I might be. I reckon I am.
I think you are.
I haven't felt the need to show up to any of the marches though. But I don't want to spend my whole day explaining to people, no, you don't understand me. No, I'm a feminist. It'd be too much. Imagine the women down there. What are you doing here?
Do you feel like you're misunderstood?
Yes, I do. But I couldn't be bothered running around telling everyone I feel misunderstood. I think if you want to spend the time listening, have a listen. It's not really that bad. We're just a bunch of idiots running around trying to make sense of the world. And we have different voices on the radio as well, from different communities, subcultures, whatever. But I did that on purpose. We built the show like that on purpose. I wanted voices that you didn't normally hear on the radio to have somewhere to come and speak and be understood by people.
What kind of voices?
Well, we started off with gay voices at first. And I remember one of the happiest moments of me being an on-air announcer was when I heard a truck driver once rang us up, very rough, driving somewhere between Queensland and Sydney. We had gay newsreaders on and we'd talk a lot about the, gay, lesbian matters or any of the transgender, any of these groups. And the truck driver once, he rang up and he goes, I never really liked those homo types until I started to listen to your gay newsreader. He's not a bad bloke. So, I think different. And I thought, one person who would never think that they would listen to the plight of a gay man, some guy driving a truck probably full of cows between Queensland and New South Wales, we've got to him. We've taken away a little bit of bigotry or his wrong perception of homosexual men, and I felt great about that. And we've done that with the Lebanese community, the Asian community, the Indian community, everyone who'd never felt like they belonged anywhere and they've said it before. Listen to other radio stations, you only hear angry white people or people winning things and Yahoo, but we do all different sorts of things on our show. I'm proud of that.
It sounds very multicultural. It doesn't sound like anything else that you hear on radio.
Yeah, but I did that on purpose. I wanted it like that. It's important, I think. Everyone's got to have somewhere to land.
I've got one more question. It's personal though.
Oh,
I meant to ask it before.
What? What is it? You seem like you're not comfortable asking it.
No, I am.
You're not looking at me though. You're glancing at the ceiling.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
The way you feel about your body, does it impact on how much you can enjoy sex?
Wow,
I
was not expecting this. No, because the people I have sex with in the past and currently, it's not an issue. I think when you first get nude in front of someone new, you're like, oh my God, I'm like 138 kilos. But when they don't make you feel bad or you don't feel like you're being judged, whatever, it's good. I spent a lot of time, trying to overcompensate for my gross body while doing other tricks.
Like what?
I can't go into that.
You don't have to answer that.
Yeah, I'll write on it.
You've been with a lot of women, and I'm sure that you understand that often the way a woman feels about her body does impact on her ability to enjoy sex.
Yeah, actually, you're right.
So that's why I was interested.
No, yeah. I never even thought about it like that.
Yeah,
but you're right. Yeah, it made me think of one particular person straight away when you said that. Because I had one girl years and years and years ago, and whenever we'd have sex, she'd always have the bra on. And I'd be like, take the bra off. And she's like, no. Yeah, and I'd be like, I wonder why she won't take the bra. And I'd always come in, hey, let me slip the bra. No, she didn't want to. And one day she was like, I've got inverted nipples, all right? I didn't even know what that was. So I said, guess a look. And then because I handled it like a normal person that I assume everyone would, she didn't feel, bad or embarrassed. I don't know. Maybe some guy was like, what the fuck's going on there? I don't know what happened to her for her to be so paranoid. But once I saw it and I didn't react badly, then it was fine. So I'd imagine it'd be just like that. Because I never want to be seen from the side. See, your producers can see me from the side?
Yeah.
That's what's making me more uncomfortable than anything. They're judging what I look like from the side. Am I going on a bit too much about the...
Not at all.
Do you know what I'm saying, guys?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting hearing a guy talk about body image because I think so much emphasis is put on women and body image, but men live in a world as well where, Justin Bieber has an 8-pack and this one and that one.
And a schlong and a half. Have you seen those photos?
Oh, no, I haven't seen those photos.
And he was coming out of the water in Barbados or something. He had the whole Penny Fellini.
We were talking about Orlando Bloom, though, those nude photos.
What's the go with that?
So I imagine that guys don't live in the same world as women do. There's not as much value index to your body as there is for women and your appearance.
Yeah.
You're not paid for how you look.
No, that's true. But a lot of men now, you look around there, this new generation, they're all like Geordie Shore types. They're all buffed up on the gym, got the designer clothes. Where's all the money coming from and time? What were we doing back when everyone else was doing all this?
It's a lot of time.
It's a lot of time. The haircuts, it's too. I'm glad I'm not dating out there now. I'd rather just be alone. Serious, it's too much effort.
Last question.
If this one doesn't work out, I'm alone.
Alone. Why did you want to come in here and do this interview?
Well, because I'm not asked. Well, I think I'm asked a lot, but that doesn't usually get to me. Other people squash it. And Bruno's like, oh, Mia's, her from Mamamia. I'm like, yeah, I know Mia is. And he said, oh, she wants to know if you do a podcast. And I said, oh. And because I've worked with you only briefly, but many years ago, I was just like, yeah, I'd love to do it, but I don't do many.
I know.
But I've enjoyed it. And then other people were like, oh, be careful. And
Did you think it was going to be a stitch up?
No, but I think other people thought.
Yeah.
What if they do this? And I said, I'm comfortable with who I am. I said, I think people that even work with me for years think that I'm just a loose cannon and anything could go wrong at any stage. Actually, that does happen from time to time. So I get it.
The podcast is called No Filter, you and me both.
Is it? I love
thought
it.
of one more question.
Yeah, go.
When you're on the bottom of a pylon in the media and, sponsors are pulling out and everything, what does that feel like for you?
I feel like I've let the people that I work for down. And often when these things have happened, it hasn't happened dozens of times, but more often than not, it's inflamed in an area that's a little inaccurate. Not that it's any better than the pure accuracy, but people go off on a tangent, but it's usually about something that's not even actually part of the real problem that's happened. So I always just think, and then I have to deal with crisis PR people, and they've always got the wrong ideas, and I say, you really don't know what you're doing. And because I work for myself, I don't really work for anyone. I don't have to do anything that they say.
Do you get scared that you lose your job though?
No, I don't. I'm protected in my contract. Like, yeah, I would be heartbroken because this is all I know how to do.
Well, what did you think? I was talking to my executive producer, Liz, who has been working with me on No Filter pretty much since the beginning. And she reminded me that this podcast began as an interview show that would show you a different side of high-profile people that you thought you knew well because they were famous for doing something. And this interview was very much aimed at doing just that. So I hope you got a fresh perspective on someone that maybe you thought you knew. I certainly did. If you like this podcast, please subscribe and share it with a friend. You can find more episodes of No Filter on Spotify. And this episode was produced by Mel Sauer. The executive producer of No Filter is Elissa Ratliff. I'm Mia Freedman, and I'll see you on Mamamia.
Mamamia acknowledges the traditional owners of the land we have recorded this podcast on, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. We pay our respects to their elders, past and present, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures.